And it's officially time to start. So welcome guys, welcome everyone. We are live from King's Cross. So just a bit of housekeeping before we start. You have the chat, feel free to use it, ask me any questions you might have. Just a bit of disclaimer, today we'll enter 2 train stations. We'll try, we might be kicked out. In the train station I might be semi-silent because that's the best way not to be kicked out. And also we're gonna go and take a look at the floating bookshop. Just so you know, where is the mute button? If I hear any music, I'm gonna mute everything, okay? Because I do not want to have any copyright issues with YouTube. They're very strict, and very often at the floating bookshop they play music. So if there's some music on, I'll just mute myself for a few minutes. I'll give you a little tour, and then I'll tell you the history of the floating bookshop. And if anyone is new to me, welcome. Just to tell you a bit about what we're doing today. So I'm doing those Monopoly tours. I've already rolled the dice on the board at home, and we ended up on King's Cross. So I'm now giving you a little live tour of King's Cross area, and we'll look at property prices in the area. Right, let's go. So we are right here by the canal. King's Cross is an amazing, well, it was a very industrial hub between the canal and the rail tracks. That's, I hope you don't hear the music from here. Oh well, if I have any copyright complaints, we'll see. Anyway, before we go anywhere else, I have a flat already for you right here in the building straight ahead. So it is a flat to buy. Let me show you what it looks like inside. Apologies, it's very bright today. It's going to be a bit harder to see. Let me try a better angle. So that's what it looks like inside. It is a 2-bedroom, and it is to buy. Any guesses? How much would you spend for a 2-bedroom flat right up there in that beautiful building? Any guesses? How much would you spend to buy? It's actually a very decent price for the area, I think. Why is it called King's Cross? Well, Mike, it's because there used to be a statue of George IV. The statue lasted less than 15 years. It used to be referred to as Battle Bridge, actually. But because the statue was put there at the junction, they called it King's Cross. But the statue was so ugly, and George IV was not very popular, so they removed the cross. Oh, Alice, you're quite close. So the name stuck, King's Cross, and the new station was already opened as King's Cross, but the King's statue is gone now. I'll show you the answer. Some of you are getting really good at this. Well done, Alice. 1,385,000. So it's really not too bad for the area, really. Anyway, let's go. If the signal is not too bad, I'm gonna try to give you a quick look at Granary Square. If it's bad, we'll quickly turn around. So all this area, about maybe 20 years ago, you did not want to come here. It was very dodgy here. You know, you'd lock the car door, you know, when you were passing through here. Hi, old shark. Today it is absolutely lovely. It has gone through a massive rejuvenation in the last maybe 10-15 years max. This used to be a very busy hub in terms of transport of goods. The building to my right here, the Granary building, it used to be to store wheat. And today it is actually a College of Art. You know, because the rents were quite cheap, you had a lot of artists that moved here and designers, and now it's actually a very trendy area. All this place here, Granary Square, used to be a bassin. We're right next to the canal, and the boats would come right here. Welcome, Sylvia. if the signal is still good, I'm gonna try to show you the spot where people come sunbathe. It is very busy. It's about the size of Trafalgar Square, but it's a lovely place to come. And you'll see by the canal here. So this is when the weather is nice. It's always very busy here. So you can, you know, bring your own drinks, come and enjoy the sun, and watch life go by and watch the canal boats and everything. Hi Anjay, welcome back. All right, I'm not gonna risk it going down the canal because I know there's one spot there where the signal drops, so we're gonna go back the same way. And we're gonna go and take a look at the floating bookshop. It is an amazing place. Unfortunately, they play music, so the minute we get there, I'm gonna mute you, okay? Because the thing with YouTube is that you can easily have some copyright issues. If you're lucky, if you do make any money out of the video, they'll give half of the income to the music. Anyway, the floating bookshop, it's an amazing initiative. It used to be, well, originally it was two partners. They were selling books on the market, you know. They lived on a canal boat, and they thought that'll be so much easier if we could just sell the books on a boat. They looked at a boat, a Dutch barge that was on sale, a barge from the 1920s, but they didn't have the money to buy it. So they contacted the owner and they asked if they could have a lease. They told him the business plan and they asked if they could just, you know, pay monthly. And the owner of the boat said, you know what, I'll give you the boat for free if I can be your partner. So he started to work with them. So now it's three partners together, and it started in 2011. So you'd think it's the worst time to start a bookshop, right? Because, you know, people buy everything on Amazon or Kindle, or, you know, the publishing industry was already not doing great, but it thrived anyway. It's right now they're doing the music, so I'm gonna mute you. I'll give you a little tour and then I'll bring the sound back on, okay? Mute for now. Okay, let's bring the sound back on. The music is far away now. It is a shame because it's a bit even more atmospheric with there was some jazzy music in the background. So yeah, then they started the bookshop. They do tarot reading here if you wanted your card read, and they are new books, Tish, as far as I know, but they can only store about 10% of what a normal bookshop would store. And the thing is, when they started, so they had the boat, but then they had to move every 2 weeks. You might already know that. We've spoken about that in my tour in Camden. To live on the canal here, you have to pay a mooring. If you move every 2 weeks, it's not too bad. It might be just maybe $1,000 a year or something, but you have to move every 2 weeks and you have to do over 20 miles a year, and it's very strict. So for them to get regular customers, it was impossible, and they couldn't even take any orders either, because then you never knew where the bookshop was going to be the next time, and they had to. They had to move because they didn't have the money to, a permanent mooring here. It could be up to $1,000 a month, so it's nearly the price. Yes, they do have a website, Tish. Yeah. I think it's just wordsonwater. Oh, it could be the floating bookshop. But yeah, if you Google it, you'll find it. Yeah, and they do take orders as well if you wanted to. They try to supply books that are either classics or that they've read or that they do want to read, because obviously they cannot store all the books available. But the thing is, because they had to move all the time, they were actually going to have to close, because it was just not a good business at all. And eventually, when they posted on Twitter that they were not going to survive, the Canal and River Trust Company received thousands of emails. Everyone wanted to save the floating bookshop, and there was like thousands of people replying on Twitter and all that. And the Canal and River Trust actually contacted them back, and they were like, you know what, you can have your spot. You choose the spot anywhere in London. So they chose here Granary Square because it's such a vibrant area with a lot of footfall. So yeah, a great story really, because if they had to pay for the permanent mooring, it's only a small bookshop. There's only so much money they can generate. So yeah, it's amazing really. And they have, I don't know if you saw, because that's when I was muting, but they have a little like a stage up there. So they do open mics and music event. So that's quite cool really. Anyway, let me zoom in so you can see. I need to close the chat to zoom in, I forgot. Down there in the middle of the screen, you see a building that's a little bit older. It's an old warehouse. Well, that is the Canal Museum. So if you are ever in London, especially if you're commuting through King's Cross, if you wanted to see what it's like to live on a canal boat and hear about the canal history, it is a very cool place to visit. And last time I've been, I actually had a free ride. I was just reading the information, minding my own business, when the lady came to me and she was like, "Oh, do you want to go on a canal ride?" I was like, Do you mean free?" And she was like, "Yeah." So I went on a little ride for free. I don't think it's automatic. I think it was a quiet day. So I was like, brilliant. And let me show you. There's a cool statue across the canal here. I'll show you. It's a fish on a bicycle. I'll just show you. You could walk the canal. If I was going straight ahead, I could go all the way to Camden. There's also an amazing little graveyard down there, St. Pancras graveyard, but I've decided not to cover it on this tour because some of you might know I already do a tour there, so I didn't want too much crossover. But yeah, you could have a lovely little walk and look at the cycling fish. Anyway, let's go up because I have another flat for you up there. It's the building just behind me, but I'm gonna show you the photos now while I'm in the shadow, in the shade, I should say, so you can get a good view. Because it's which one is it? Okay, So it is a 2-bedroom flat to rent, I think. 2-bedroom to rent. More fish on a bicycle, not your coat. Okay, I didn't know, I've never heard that quote, but why not? Let me check that I'm telling the right thing. Yeah, 2-bedroom to rent. How much would you pay monthly for this lovely flat? I'll show you the building, it's just right next to us. So you have a great view on the canal. So monthly, 2-bedroom. 350 says Laurie, 150 says Amanda. 5,000 said Asha. 3K says Michelle. It's not that bad. It is 2,000 says Tish. Oh, you guys are getting quite close. Yeah, it's the thing is, King's Cross is absolutely lovely now, but some people don't know, because until not that long ago, you can see the tip of St. Pancras already. Even when I moved to London in 2008, you still had 3 nightclubs here: the Key, the Cross, and Bagley's. Bagley's, that's where they filmed, you know, the video clip Sorry from Madonna. I think it was filmed in Bagley's. So it was still a place with squad parties and clubs. How much would that be in euro, Andre? A little bit more, but you'd have to double check because it keeps changing. So, oh, you used to go to Bagley's? Oh, cool. Yeah, I think they all closed in 2008. So that's literally when I moved to London. But this area was still a bit Dutch at the time, you know. Anyway, let me show you. So the flat is just down there straight ahead. Oh, sorry, it's a bit windy. Let me show you the price. Ta-da! Is it? Am I showing you the right one? Hold on. Yeah. I had a doubt. I thought I was. So yeah, 2,383 for a 2-bedroom flat. So it is a lot, but you know, compared to the prices in the rest of London, it's actually not that bad at all. It's really expensive, said Angie. Well, yeah, but London is very expensive everywhere. We'll see, you'll see some probably even more expensive one down the road. So King's Cross, as we mentioned earlier, it's named after the statue of a king. Bear with me, my shoelaces are going. I'm just putting my shoelaces back in. So yeah, it used to be called Battle Bridge because we used to have a bridge here. We used to have a river here, the River Fleet. You might have heard of the lost rivers in London. The River Fleet used to run right here, and allegedly it is here next to the bridge over the River Fleet that Boudica, you might know the Queen Boudica that fought the Romans, allegedly the battle was here. There's even there's a bit of an urban myth that Boudica herself was buried in the site of King's Cross Station. Some say that it's between platform 9 and 10. And that would be a big coincidence because, of course, in King's Cross, you know, we've got the platform 9 3/4, you know, where you had a little magician that used to go to his school in Hogwarts. So yeah, it's a little urban myth. We don't know if there's any truth behind it. But, oh, you are doing it in dollars? Yeah, it's hard to think in a different currency, but it's expensive in any currencies, I think. Anyway, those buildings, they used to be warehouses. A lot of, well, you know, in King's Cross, we used to store a lot of coal because it was a junction between the canals and the train. You know, before we had the trains, the canal were the only way of transportation. And we used to transport a lot of coal down from Newcastle or from up north, really, because we used the coal to warm up our houses and also to create gas. That's why we've got some gas holders in King's Cross as well, those old Victorian gas holders. And if you see, we still have one of those cranes right there. See, that's a former crane in which well, they would have used it to bring some of the goods into the warehouse. And while we're here, because I don't have any flats on this street, let me tell you a bit more about the history of Monopoly. I know some of you might already know that, because I've probably told you in some of my Monopoly tours before, but I've not told you since, oh, I wonder where that goes. I've not told you since we are on YouTube. So the Monopoly, you know, you might know it as a game to promote capitalism, really. Well, actually, it was the other way around. The lady that invented it, her name is Lizzie Magie. She had the idea in 1903. She was very much, she was a bit of a feminist and she was a bit of an egalitarian, and she wanted to highlight the theories of a chap called Henry George. He was a progressive writer and he imagined the idea that we could have a tax every time someone buys a land, so that would give back to the people, you know, like you would literally have to pay people to buy your land. And Lizzie Magie, she invented two games. It was called the landlord game, but she had the monopoly and the anti-monopoly. So there were two sets of rules. The anti-monopoly was basically money back to the people, and the monopoly was the game we know today. It became very popular in Philadelphia and in the northeast of the United States, really. And one night, a chap called Charles Darrow was invited for dinner at some friends in Atlantic City, and they played the game. He stole the idea, he redid his own version, and he sold it to Parker Brothers. So the whole monopoly, you know, you might have heard it was created between the war, I mean, at the time of recession and all that. Not really. He had stolen the idea from Lizzie Magie, he sold it, he became a millionaire. Eventually Lizzie complained, Parker Brothers gave her well, they bought the license, just a ridiculous amount of money. And the story never really came out until the 70s, when there was a gentleman that wanted to publish, he wanted to do the anti-monopoly. So he wanted to create the anti-monopoly landlord game that Lizzie Magie had created, and Parker Brothers kind of attacked him. They took him. They took, you know, they started the justice system when really they had no right on the anti-monopoly anyway. Eventually, he won the case, and eventually that's how the story of Lizzie Magie was a bit more publicized. So yeah, the story of Monopoly is the story of a thief, really. Oh, Jenny is here. She finished Zumba. Welcome, Jenny. Perfect timing. You've only missed one of the most beautiful spots for sunbathing in London, but don't worry, you still have some amazing properties. And I have one down that street here. It's a studio. Let me find it. A studio to rent. So just a studio, you know, you sleeping next to your kitchen, to rent. I'll show you the photos. So that's the one. I think they've actually made a little mistake in the floor map. There's actually two windows. How much would you spend monthly for a little studio here? Bear in mind, it is a good location if you have a car, because we are right outside of the congestion zone. You might know, to drive in London you have to pay every day. It's about, I think it's £17 a day now, but they've added a second one on top. You guys are getting really good at this. 1,500 says Amanda on Tish. $1,200 rose a little bit more. 1.7 says Michelle. Oh, it's here actually. It is, I believe they've made a mistake on the floor map. They say it's on the ground floor, but I think it's the one up there because I can see the tree from the window. So it is, Caroline, you're quite close as well. It is actually a little bit under the market. 1,300 that's actually a very good price for a studio in the area, because I did find a few of them that were 1,500. So that's actually a very decent price. 1,300 a month. But you still need, you know, if you are on minimum wage here, full-time minimum wage, you'll make 1,700. So, you know, if you wanted to live on your own and you wanted to live here, you really are left with not much to eat and to go out or to drive or to pay for transport or anything. Bargain. It is actually, you know what, it is actually a good price. I mean, because even in my area, that's no good at all. Well, no good. I love my area, but compared to King's Cross, it's a bit further away. Even in my area, the minimum I could find for a studio is 1,150, I think, when we did Old Kent Road. So yeah, that's right. The next one is a bedroom, and I'm not sure, it could be this one down here. So it's a bedroom in a flat share. What they do sometimes, those websites, is they put the pin drop not quite right, so you don't knock at the door. You have to pay to contact the seller. I don't think it's this one because I've seen the guy coming out yesterday, but my guess is that it might actually be this one here. So you know you are technically under underground level, so not very bright. How much would you pay monthly for, oops, hold on, the gimbal is gonna go funny. How much would you pay monthly? It is a flat share, so just one bedroom to live with another three. Let me show you the pictures before. So, oh, they have a lovely little garden though. So, not a great and bright bedroom, and Janie, you're quite good at this now. Oh, you guys are too low. You guys are too low. Rose, a little bit less. Let me show you. So they say weekly here, but I did the math. I think if you multiply that by 4.4, it's I think it's 1,137, if I remember right. So, you know, for another 200 quid, you could have a studio across the street. So, yeah, it's... I think some people are shouting at me by the window, but I don't know if I don't know what they're saying. So let's just move on. And the neighbor was laughing at me, but I don't know why. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the crescent. Do I want to move? No, I'm happy. I'm actually quite happy where I am, because where I live in a former nursing home. It's a little bit cheaper than a normal rent, but the deal is that I can be kicked out in 28 days. So it's not, I don't actually pay a rent, I pay a license to squat, basically. But at least I pay a little bit less than most people. We are now on Caledonian Road. Caledonian, not because it goes up to Scotland, because you might know Caledonia, it's Scotland. For most people, for me, Caledonia is New Caledonia. That's where I used to live. It's a French island next to Australia. That has nothing to do with Scotland. It's probably just Captain Cook, when he discovered it, he believed it looked like Scotland and he called it Caledonia. Anyway, this lovely little crescent used to be called Caledonia Crescent, but they've renamed it through the First World War for some reason to Keystone Crescent. And you can see some examples of the window tax. We talked about that the other day, about when we did income tax on the Monopoly board. And this lovely little crescent, it's Victorian. It's from the 1840s. It is apparently the crescent with the smallest angle in Europe, or how do they call it, ratio or whatever. So the smallest, you know, the most tiny circle, or the you know, the smallest angle. There's also a New Caledonian road, is New Caledonian Asylum, which was not exactly like asylum, some kind of a refuge. Wars. Exactly, Mike. Thank you. That was the term I was looking at. And anyway, I've got a flat for you right here. It is. I'm gonna try to be one. Let me show you the photos. It looks quite nice, and it's a lovely little station in terms of commute. If you have to commute through the station, King's Cross and St. Pancras, it's actually the busiest station in the underground. It's not the busiest train station, but in terms of underground, it's the busiest. So how much would you pay monthly for a 1-bedroom here? I mean, it's cool. So, yeah, they have quite a lot of... So how much would you pay, guys, monthly, 1-bedroom? Amanda says 1,800. Ash says 1,500. Michelle, well done. Michelle, you've got it. We are on 2K, exactly. 2K. Oops. So 2K for a 1-bedroom. So it's literally just for a couple. Let me go in the shadow so you can actually see. In the shade, sorry. I keep calling it the shadow. Oops, sorry. It's not focusing. There we go. There we go. So 2,000 a month. So yeah, well done, Michelle, you got it. It is well, it seems a bit much, but to be honest, it is the prices now for a 1-bedroom, a decent 1-bedroom. It's actually probably more, which is not great because of course we have probably more single people than anywhere else, you know. Well, I think it's a statistic in most of the capitals. You have more single people than elsewhere in the countryside. But yeah, you're horrible at guessing. Well, don't worry, Amanda. It's very random anyway. You know, sometimes you have some flats that are much more. You know, much more expensive than they should be, really. Anyway, we're now arriving on Pentonville Road, which is also on the Monopoly board. To give you an idea, Pentonville Road, it's the street, I think, on the board that has changed this price the most since they created the London Monopoly in 1935. At the time, Pentonville Road was extremely cheap. Today, it's actually it's not one of the most expensive at all, but it's literally probably tripled its price. And let me show you the Scala nightclub. So this beautiful building used to be a theater, actually, a movie theater. Today it's a nightclub. I used to go there myself maybe 15 years ago. They actually had a lot of bad press in, I think it was in 2011. There's one of the bouncers, one of the securities, he attacked one of the artists. He grabbed a singer, well, at least that's what the musician has claimed for a while. So the Scala had to, well, they had to fire 3 of their security members. And it was not exactly good press for them on the internet. What street do we have on the French Monopoly? We'd have to check, Andre. I've not played the French Monopoly for ages. And while we're here, if you look at the top here, we've got a lighthouse. Why do we have a lighthouse in King's Cross, where we're miles away from the closest sea, really? It's actually because we used to have a business here that was selling oysters. So apparently they built a lighthouse to look a bit like the seaside. Today it's a Five Guys. They are everywhere now, burgers. But yeah. Yes, Five Guys in London. They came maybe 10 years ago now, but we're starting to have a lot of Five Guys everywhere. Looks like from Mary Poppins. Oh, cool. And straight ahead, you can already see the clock tower of St. Pancras. So we've got two stations here, King's Cross and St Pancras. The one on the Monopoly board, it is King's Cross. And on the tube map, it's only one station, King's Cross, St Pancras as one, which is rather interesting because we have some stations that are two in one. For example, Bank and Monument, it's only one station really, but there are two stations on the tube map. King's Cross and St Pancras, they have chosen to have it as one. And we had a terrible fire in King's Cross Station in the underground in, it was 16th of November 1987. You know, at the time the health and safety regulations were not as good as they are today. And the escalators, they used to be wooden. And it was evening, 7 p.m. A lot of people coming back from Christmas shopping and stuff. And one chap was on the escalator, just 7:15, and he spotted a bright light coming out of the escalator. He went to tell the staff at the top of the escalator in the ticket hall, and the staff was like, okay. They looked quickly, they couldn't see anything because obviously they looked from above, and apparently the young man felt really stupid to have told the security for nothing, you know. Well, the next thing you know, suddenly 10 to 15 minutes later, there were flames coming out of the escalator. The fire brigade was called. They did not get worried too quickly because they thought it was a small fire and it was very well manageable. Let me show you a little illustration, by the way, of how much underground we have here. So I'm gonna try to nail down so we are in the shade. There we go. So can you see that's King's Cross and St Pancras on the side? Can you see how many tubes, how many escalators, how many, you know, that's crazy what's happening under our feet right now. So, oh, you remember reading? Yeah, it was a terrible fire. And there's a few eyewitnesses that also spotted a man going into a manhole, really, looking like a staff, but he was never identified as a staff. And they started to evacuate the station, but at the time they were evacuating through the other escalator going down the ticket hall, and actually a few minutes later the ticket hall was bursting in flame. It looked like an explosion, it wasn't, but it's because of the angle of the fire on the escalator. So they actually sent a few people to their death, really. And very sadly 31 or 32, I'm not sure, because we are in the 80s, you know, you still have the RAA, and you know, but arson was kind of put out of the question. And when they looked under the escalator, they spotted 18 beginning of fires that had been undetected. 18. So it was an accident, but you know, it could have happened before. And we now believe that it might have been somebody that discarded their cigarette match. Cigarettes had been banned in the underground 2 years earlier, but the ban was not really implemented, and a lot of people, as they got out of the tube in the escalator, they would already light a cigarette and discard the match. So they think a literally still burning match was discarded on the wooden escalator, went into the, you know, in between, and then started to burn some of the grease that's full of dust on tickets and paper and all that. So yeah, terrible tragedy, really. But in a way that has helped improving health and safety for the future. And now we only have escalators that are metal, of course. Quick stop here for the Harry Potter fans. The actual platform 9 3/4, it is here between platform 4 and 5. So you know when Harry Potter tries to go inside the wall, it is right here, straight ahead. Anyway, let's try to cross the station, but I'm gonna be, they're always a bit funny about filming into stations, so I'm gonna be semi-silent, okay? I'm gonna use the other entrance because I cannot, oh, let's try. So this part of the station is new. That was built before the Olympics of 2012. Yeah, it is huge, and as you can see, a little bit busy as well. But it is Sunday night. You might have quite a few people on a weekend in London going back to the Midlands or going back to Scotland or whatever. Yeah, the ceiling is fantastic. Yeah, look at that. And I'm gonna show you quickly the fake platform 9 3/4, because the real one is between platform 4 and 5, but they don't want people to go and take the photo there. So you can come here, queue for a little while and take your photo. I'm gonna go quickly before the securities. Hello.
Can you come from the opposite side, please?
Okay, no worries. So in theory, that should be here, the 9 3/4. And you also have a shop here, the Harry Potter shop. Very busy shop. You actually have to queue to get in the shop. Anyway, let's get out, let's go. I thought the security was gonna kick me out because there's no, you need a permission to film in train station normally for commercial filming, but there's no such thing as commercial filming anymore, you know. Everyone has a mobile phone, everyone can use those videos for whatever. So there's no definition anymore of what commercial filming might be. But he didn't. He told me to go on the other side. I don't know why. I just said yes. I'll go to the other side. No worries. And let me show you the German gymnasium. So that's for you, Anjay. A German gymnasium. So this building here, today it is a restaurant with a German style, but it was built as a gymnasium in the, I think, 1860s. And it was the first purpose-built gymnasium ever, really. Oh, I was still a bit zoomed in for some reason. I've just noticed now. Okay. Sorry if the video was a bit shakier than usual. Sometimes it happens when you're still zoomed in. So the gymnasium is, we had the gentlemen at the bottom and the ladies at the top. And there were some little lines, so the gentleman couldn't go and pick at the ladies, you know, already at the time. And apparently they did some of the first Winter Olympic stuff in there before it was actually a proper thing. And down there, we're not gonna go because there's not much to see, but down there it's my new boss. Do you know who's my new boss? Or partner, I should say? Any guesses? That's the trace of. You should be able to guess that one. You're on it right now. Who's my new partner? Well, it is YouTube. The building straight there behind the taxi, that's the YouTube head office. YouTube and Google, of course, exactly holds. Yeah. We're not gonna go because there's nothing to see. They used to have a big sign that said YouTube outside, but there's nothing anymore. So yeah, that's the YouTube head office. I would go and knock at the door, but it's Sunday, so they're probably not working on a Sunday. But at least I've been to say hello. And let's go and take a look into St. Pancras. So St. Pancras Station, it's newer than, oh, you were going to say King Charles? Yeah, I suppose in a way, he could be my new boss. The station of King's Cross, it's so King's Cross is to my left. That's the oldest one that we've seen earlier, and St. Pancras is to my right. St. Pancras was originally for the Midland Railway, and it's literally been built on beer, because we used to import a lot of beer from the Midlands, and pretty much every product that came from the Midland used to be stored in here. But we had a lot of beer from Burton-on-Trent. So under the platforms, you had some beer storage. So tons and tons of barrels of beer, really. And the other side where we're heading to now, you had a hotel already at the time, the Midland Grand Hotel. It was one of the most modern hotels of its day, with an hydraulic lift and a beautiful. Yes, it is still a station today. It's where you get the Eurostar. Since 2007, that's where you get the Eurostar, so the train going to Paris or the Netherlands, the Eurostar used to be in Waterloo until 2007. Then it moved in here, and the building at the front, it's still a hotel today, but it's a new hotel. It's called the Renaissance Hotel, and you have some of the bedrooms that have a view on the train platforms. It's minimum £250 a night. The Royal Suite is actually 10,000 a night, so quite a fancy hotel, but it is absolutely beautiful. And we have a couple of apartments as well in the hotel. Let me show you the first one. You might be a bit surprised by the prices, but let me show you. I've got quite a few photos. So this is to buy. I think it's a three bedroom, but it's massive. You have a lot of space and a mezzanine and three reception area. So how much would you pay to buy this beautiful 3-bedroom flat? And trains to Leicester, yes. Look at the floor plan, because it is massive. So how much would you pay? Beautiful, stunning Victorian architecture, wooden beams. 2.2. Oh guys, you can go higher. Janie, Tish, you know what? How do you know? I think Tish, you've been doing your research. You've been on Zoopla.com. It is well, it's even more than 9 million, Tish. It is 9,950,000. So quite a lot of money. We have some more affordable ones as well. I'll show you another one. That's actually a very decent price. 2-bedroom flat, not as good looking inside, but a lovely 2-bedroom. I'll show you the facade in a moment, but while I'm in the shed, I'm showing you the photos now. So how much would you pay for this much more affordable 2-bedroom? 6 millions, 2.5, 3 millions. Well, it's actually far less. 7.5, for actually far less, far less. You guys are a bit too high. I'll show you. So this is the underground here. And I'll show you, it's only 1.5. Such a good price, isn't it? It's, I don't know why there's so much of a gap, but yeah, 1.5. So not too bad. And there was one for rent as well, 2-bedroom, 3,585, I think it was. So you know, it is a lot, but for such a prestigious building, no worries, you're not too late. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful building. And it might look familiar because you might have seen it in Harry Potter as well. You might remember a scene where basically they missed the Hogwarts Express because they couldn't get through the wall. And then they have to, so the car is parked here and they have to go with the flying car. You might remember that. Let me show you. If you don't, I'll show you a little image. There you go. So that's Harry Potter flying in front of the Muggles to go towards Hogwarts. I can never say it properly. There we go. Yeah, it's I think it's 2 hours and 16 minutes to Paris. It used to be 3 hours, but it's a bit quicker now. So yeah, it's a very good way to go. It's quite expensive though. I mean, for most of France, it's actually much cheaper to go with a flight, but yeah. So glad that, well, you know what, one of my flatmates, I've got 48 flatmates, but one of my flatmates is doing upselling, is cleaning the top of the buildings, and I saw him once. I was doing a tour and he was up there. Well, I didn't recognize him because he was a bit too high, but he had told me the night before, so I was like, it must be him. So I was waving, Andy, Andy. So yeah, that's probably quite a cool job if you like heights, and it's probably amazing to climb over one of those iconic London buildings. Anyway, let's have a quick look inside. Again, once we are inside the station, I might be semi-silent. I don't want to be too loud and too obvious, because again, they could tell me to go. So would you believe at some point they actually wanted to destroy the building? It's a poet that fought to save it. But before that, let me show you the lover statue. This is absolutely stunning. It's massive. I think it's is it 9 meters? I think it's 9 meters. But let me show you the details. It is absolutely amazing. So the perspective is just really, really good. That's the ladies' bum that you sometimes get in front of you in the underground, if you're quite short like me. Bored people on their train. That's the entrance of, so you can see the Pancras Hotel in the background. So that's just amazing perspective, really. So all those scenes are connected to what happened on the platform or on the train. Again, quite bored passengers here. The bye-bye. The bye-bye when she doesn't care quite as much as he does, because she's on her phone. Oh, and this one I love with the perspective with the glasses. Right. And this one that we've not seen, this one. Reading their books in the busiest conditions. I don't know how people can read a book standing in the underground. I'll get distracted very, very quickly. But people do that. And this is the Eurostar there. Right, let me show you the statue of the man that basically saved the station. His name is John Betjeman. He is a poet, and he worked for the Victorian Society. Victorian Society? Yeah, I think it's Victorian Society, the association that wanted to save the station. So on the floor you have some extract of his poetry. Oh, let me go around. So they are spread across the floor here. You might be able to hear a bit of the piano in the background. You have 2 pianos downstairs where people can actually play. Anyone can just have a go. I hope whatever they're playing is not copyrighted, but who knows. Yeah, the details are amazing. This is the longest champagne bar in Europe. So this is all the way down there. You can come and have your champagne before to have your train. And King's Cross really, St. Pancras, it's a station, yes, it is, but it's also a destination. There's a bit of a shopping center, and some people come to just enjoy the restaurants and the bars. Some people do come and visit when they do not have a train, well, like myself right now. Although I have spent a lot of time down there myself, because sometimes I come to pick up a group here, so I have to stand right there with my little sign or my little iPad with the name of the group, and I have to wait until they do come out. I'm just gonna show you my face for a moment, because I'm waiting for the statue to be free. There's a gentleman posing with John. Hey, there he is. So that's the man that literally saved the station from demolition. Well, he's not the only one. There were a little bit of a committee of them trying to fight for it. But it is such an amazing structure. It would have been a shame to let it go. And you can see his poetry as well on the floor next to him. And the hotel itself, you might also have heard, or you might have seen the inside of the hotel if you remember your video clips from the Space Girl in the 90s. If you wanna be my lover, wanna be my no. I'm not gonna say, I think I'm allowed to sing. But yeah, if you wanna be my lover, get on with my friends. It was filmed in the staircase. They have an amazing staircase. And that clock, it's actually the 3rd one now, it's a newer one. There's a lot of gossip about the clock. At some point they said that there's no evidence of that, but they said that they had sold it to an American investor for a massive amount of money, the old clock. And they actually destroyed it accidentally when they tried to take it down. No, I shouldn't think, Janie. It's gonna start to rain. I have a lot of hidden talents, but singing is not one of them. Let me show you the lovers from this angle as well. So that's the bye-bye scene or the hello scenes on the platforms. We don't know. And see, because I'm short, I always see a bum bum. Let me show you the gentleman's bum bum. It's better. Right, let's go outside. It's gonna be the end of the tour. Let me know if you have any questions for me. We could try to sneak into the hotel, see if we could see the staircase, but I'm I'm just not really dressed like the type of customer. Let's just go and see if there's any security by the door. Why not? We'll see. We never know. If there's no one there, I could just go straight in. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks everyone for coming today. If you, if any of you left me a little tip, that's really appreciated. I do not see the notification from the tips when I'm on YouTube, but make sure you know you're very much appreciated. And if it's on PayPal, I cannot actually say thank you on PayPal, but it's very appreciated. You thought we met under the clock at Chicago. I don't really know the Chicago clock. I know the clock in Waterloo. It's actually the number 1 or number 2 meeting point in London, the most used meeting point. There's a 4-faced clock in, oh, there's a security here. There's a 4-faced clock in Waterloo. We can actually ask him. Hello there. Do you know if I'm allowed to go and see the staircase? I just wanted to do a little video of the staircase.
Yeah, but you can't make videos inside, you know.
You cannot take videos?
Yeah,
okay. Photos?
Photo you can make, but only you can go on the ground. You can't go up.
Okay.
On the ground.
Oh, amazing.
Here, left.
Okay, thank you very much. Look at that. Thank you. I'm not saying anything until I'm around the corner because I have been a bit cheeky. Yeah, because I've been a bit cheeky. He said no video or photos, so I was like, yeah, okay. Oh, music again, hold on. Sorry, I've just muted you again because there were a lot of music. There's music everywhere here. That's so annoying when you're trying to stream on YouTube because there's a lot of people playing music. I mean, I love music, but not on YouTube. Yes, I'm such a delinquent. Anyway, let me know, guys, if you have any questions. That's gonna be the end of the tour. We could keep going. There's an amazing street here, Houston Street, but it's also on the Monopoly board, so we'll have to keep it for next time. We're right next to the British Library as well, but again, that's probably for next time when we'll end up on Houston Street. Let me know if you have any questions before we go. And if not, thank you very much for coming today. If you are new to me, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll give me a little subscribe or check my next lives on my next videos. And if you want to see a bit more of me, Friday, Royal Dark Tales, and that's it for now. I might take you to a new location on Saturday. I'm going somewhere on Saturday, and although I'm not going to have time to do any research really, I thought maybe we can just have a walk on chat, because I've been very surprised on YouTube when you see the videos of people that have a quiet walk, they actually get thousands of views. And the videos of people that do a guided walk with commentary and research, and they actually get very few. I'm like, what? Maybe I do too much work, you know. Maybe I should do more, casual walks with very little information, but just a chat and exploring together. So I might try that on Saturday on the seaside. I'm not telling you quite where yet, because I need to double check the timing. But yeah, I should try Twitch. Yeah, I was a bit. The thing is, Twitch, I think it's a little bit intimidating if you're not really in the streaming world. I mean, for the audience that might be a bit older and stuff, because even for me, when I get on Twitch, I'm like, oh, I'm too old. It's full of gamers and stuff. So that's why I choose YouTube, because I thought, pretty much everyone has a YouTube account. Yeah, Barbara. Well, it wouldn't necessarily be silent, but just maybe slightly less researched, because sometimes I do spend way too many hours doing research, and maybe it's not necessary. Maybe people wouldn't enjoy a casual walk, so we can try and see. Yeah, I can do both. Yeah. Cool. Let me see if I've missed any question. You love the commentary? Yeah, I think a lot of people come to my tours because they like the stories. I don't know if they would like them as much if I didn't have much to say, but we can try. See what it's like. Let me see what I've missed. Cool, I think that's it. So thank you very much for coming today, guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday. A good morning, a good evening, a good lunch, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are in the globe. And I'll probably see you on Friday. If not, I might see you on Saturday. Right, see you later. Bye-bye.